All right, good afternoon. Great to see so many members of the media as we are indeed part of an exciting time for women's soccer and honored to be with these incredible athletes. Going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to be unofficial and just first salute these incredible athletes for helping their team win the 4th World Cup in USA's history. Well done, ladies. All of them are going to be available for one-on-one interviews as well after this, and then also Steve Malik, our fine owner, and Kurt Johnson, our president general manager. We're going to bring them up to the dais for some comments as well about building toward the ICC, the new stadium, and all of the work that's being done around women's soccer and even men's soccer as well. With that, let's meet the fine members of our dais. Of course, I call him the best women's professional coach in the world, and I think he's shown that doing it with these superstars and even without them. Let's hear it for Paul Riley. Fantastic left back. I don't think gets enough credit for playing left back for the U.S. women's national team. You know what she can do as a 10 and a forward for our team, of course, from North Carolina, Crystal Dunn. Sitting next to her, Sam Mewis, 2 goals and an assist, and a great starter for Jill Ellis. Did an amazing job, great job. Samantha Mewis, let's hear it for Sam. A regular at center back for the U.S. team, started every game for the USA, just a rock back there, can drop dimes as well. Incredible server of the ball, Abby Dahlkemper. And, of course, we're so proud of the job she's done to be a great part of the team. Of course, a key part of our team, the MVP of last year's NWSL championship game, also started at North Carolina. Jessica McDonald, well done. I'm going to ask one question to each of them, and then want to talk to Paul about integrating them back into the team, and then we'll open it up for questions. And then, as I told you earlier, we'll bring up Steve and Kurt as we're so excited to celebrate what they've done. And we'll start with you, Crystal Dunn, obviously, and we'll talk about playing left back and not getting that credit, but accepting that role. Talk about what it means to maybe play a position that you don't love, but you did it so great for the USA.
Whoa. Mic check, 1, 2, 2. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think my experience at the World Cup was challenging in itself. Obviously, playing against top opponents, but doing it in a position that, I never deemed was my best position. I think anyone who's kind of followed my journey knows that I speak highly about, just feeling like you can impact the game regardless of where you're on the pitch. It was an honor to obviously be in that role and be a starter, a left back in the World Cup. But I think, it was challenging. And I think everyone just needs to always accept your role and do it to your best ability. And regardless of if that's your number one position or not, it's just about impacting the game regardless of where you are on the field.
Well said, Crystal. Certainly proud of you. And speaking of pride, Samantha Mewis, the job you did coming back from a little Knicks as well, and to earn that first team spot every single time for all the big games, and then a couple goals and an assist. It had to be a great feeling for you to always earn the starting lineup for all the big games.
Yeah, I think we just all went into this knowing we were going to be expected to play whatever role was given to us, and I think that it was awesome that I got to start some games. I was really honored, and it's just such a competitive group that anytime you get playing time, it's a huge deal. So I was honored to get the opportunities that I did on such a talented roster.
Well, you definitely had a great advocate back here for Paul Riley talking about the job you did as well. It was fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, Abby Dahlkemper, just a rock back there, solidifying the center back position and the balls you serve as well. Talk about that key role as a key defender for the U.S. team, Abby. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, as the girls said, I think it's such an honor and such a great opportunity every time you are able to step on the field, with the talented roster we have, and being able to play before the World Cup on this team, and get games under my belt definitely helped. And, I just tried to stay consistent and help my team in whichever way I can. And, defensively, I think we were really solid, and that starts from the forward line and all the way through the team. So that was great, and it was an honor to be able to start those games.
Perfect. And Jessica McDonald, you brought us all to tears so often as we followed your social media and your son coming over, a true soccer mom, and your journey, incredible, and playing some quality minutes in that second game as well. Jessica McDonald, as you reflect on being a World Cup champion, having your son there as well, what did it mean to you?
It meant the world to me, of course, not only being able to represent the best team in the world, because it's obviously a dream come true, but to also represent my child, just a human being that obviously I take care of, that looks up to me day in and day out. And it's an honor to obviously represent the crest on my chest, but also just to see the happiness on his face and being able to experience this, because this is big. And I'm just happy at the end of the day. He's at an age right now, he's 7 years old, where he's going to remember this. And hopefully that moment, him holding that trophy, is something that's just going to inspire him with whatever it is that he wants to do in the future.
J-Mac, thanks for letting all of us experience that with you as well via social media. Speaking of social media, I want to thank everybody watching us as well on nccourage.com, our great media stations. This is also being streamed on abc11.com, wrl.com, cbs17.com, and I believe also the YouTube channel for the North Carolina Courage. Delighted to be with each and every one of you. Always great spending time with Paul Riley. Paul actually guessed the score 2-0 5 days before the game against Holland as well, and broke down all of his players. Paul, first off, talk about what it means for the NWSL to have the USA win their 4th World Cup.
Well, it's been amazing for the NWSL to be in the spotlight, for all these players to give us the spotlight. I think when you look through the world's best players, most of them obviously were at the World Cup, and it's every 4 years, and I think we have to do better than every 4 years. We have to do it every year. But when they come back to their clubs, obviously it's a big part of the club business too, to have them back in town and haven't been able, people in the local area been able to watch them. But for the NWSL, it's been massive, I think, and I think you can see the difference in the ticket sales throughout the league. Chicago sold, I think, 12,000 already for this weekend's game. So I think it's been massive plus for the league. But we have to continue it, and the quality of play, they have to bring that quality they showed in France here now, and that goes for every player that's in the league. Because the teams have done well without them, and now I think we want to improve the play even more so. And I think it's a big part of the future of the next 3 or 4 months. And we have the ICC coming here too. The best players in the world coming to North Carolina again. So it's a great opportunity for these players. And I said to Sam this morning that, Sam, we talked yesterday about 23 games between now and Christmas, and I said there's only one game, and that's Sunday's game. And I think for all 4 of them, and for every other player coming back in the league, it's about the next game. Preparation, where there's more recovery, more training, more sprint work, less sprint work, more sleep, whatever it takes for that one game, and just really trying to improve in that one game. And they can still grow. There's a young team. We have a young team. These guys, besides Jess, who's still...
Come on.
No. I was going to say going into your prime. Jess is going into her prime. I was just about to say Jess is going into her prime. The rest of them are very young, and I think it's a great omen for our club anyway to have such a young team and so much talent on the team. And talk about integration. We talk about integration back into the setup, and I mean they were brilliant yesterday. Come straight back in and no questions asked, and just get on with it. And I think that's the difference maybe between ours and maybe some other players in the league. But I want it to be that they come back for every team in the league, and the fans understand how much they care about their club. And I don't think you have to ask them how much they care, because the next game's Sunday, and the whole focus is Sunday now. And they've had 10 days to enjoy themselves, and they did enjoy themselves, and now they're back, and they're sweating again. They were out there sweating yesterday. Sam looked at me and goes, oh man, it's not easy, and that's the way it is. Hard is fun, and they'll get on with it again. And my job's to make sure that every single player sitting up here gets better before the end of the season, because there is no finish line. They've got to keep pushing forward. They've got to keep pushing on. I want them to be better. I want them to be better players, and the World Cup is not the end of their careers. It's the start of their careers.
And my job is to make sure for this next question you hold the microphone a little closer so we pick it up all the way across.
Sorry, okay. You can hear anything?
And with that, before we bring Steve Malik and Kurt Johnson up, one follow-up, and you showed it last year at the ICC, the work that you did with Steve and Kurt and Scott and your assistant coaches managing the fact that it was a World Cup year, and here you have your team sitting in first place. It's pretty phenomenal, Paul, and you did that at the ICC last year. It's part of what you got to do to have the success and stay in first place. Just talk about that.
Well, I think the big thing for us, is that close enough for you? Okay. Big thing for us, I think, was during the pre and the March and April, the preparation was to get these guys ready for the World Cup. So the environment had to be top level for these guys to be able to prepare themselves for the World Cup. which they did, which all the players in the group did. And now that they've come back, their job is to make sure that every player who's been playing is pushed to their limit and their environment, and not to come back and take things for granted, because the players that have been playing need still to get better, and they've got better through playing time. And so there needs to be pressure on those jobs from these guys, and there needs to be pressure on their jobs from those guys. And I think that's what makes a competitive environment. But the team, I thought if we were within 5-6 points when the World Cup finished, we'd be okay. At least we'd be in the running for it, and it's a little bit better. But I think it's a mixture of us doing okay in the last couple of games, and everybody else just, there's no points difference between anyone. We could be first or we could be sixth, and I don't really care about what position we're in. I would prefer to be sixth within 5-6 points, but the team's been really good. The energy level's been fantastic, and I think people like Recaro and Kristen Hamilton and these type of people have really matured into really good soccer players and footballers. And I think that who's the next one? Who's going to be the next player? Is it Kristen Hamilton going to end up leading scorer in the league? And I think there's a lot of stories about it. But Kristen knows that Jess Mack's back, Crystal's back, and Sammy's back, and so Kristen Hamilton has to be better. Lynn Williams has to be better. I saw Lynn Williams play this morning. She was outstanding this morning. Not that she's not usual, but I feel like there's a little extra kick in everybody's stride this week as everybody comes back in. So I hope that's a good omen.
Yeah, and Crystal and Sam, if you could just echo the thoughts of winning the World Cup, but then also following your professional team and seeing them have success while you're over in France. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, we talked about it all the time when we were away. We were so proud of the team. I'm big on kind of talking smack to my national team teammates. So whenever we, had a great showing, got points, I was always, talking smack at breakfast the next morning. So I think it's a complete weight off our shoulders, I think, knowing that our team was in such great form and just doing so well. And players like Kristen Hamilton scoring bomb goals, like doing above and beyond stuff for the team is incredible. This is exactly what we wanted. We want our team to be informed so that when we get back, everybody could feel, good and have been in stride already before we all return. Sam, do you want to?
Yeah, I think she covered it.
Oh,
Okay, perfect.
I talk a lot.
Well, it is about seizing the moment, not just for the next home game, but for a long time down the road. Of course, we are hosting the ICC. We are hosting the NWSL Championship game. And while you were gone, big announcements on what's happening in Southern Raleigh as well. So with that, we'd like to bring up two of our fearless leaders, the owner of the North Carolina Courage and North Carolina FC, Steve Malik, and the longtime president and general manager of both clubs, Kurt Johnson. And Steve, so great to have you right next to me. Big announcement. We love the World Cup. The Courage keep winning. Your posts and tweets are awesome as well about seeing the Courage keep going on. But this team is coming back to some exciting times indeed.
So first, I just want to say to all of y'all out there that, and to these women, that we could not be more proud of you. So thank you for representing us to the whole world, and you made us look great. I'm starting to get used to that, so thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, there is a lot going on, and a lot of folks want to talk about our stadium plans and development and entertainment district downtown. But I think today, we ought to be focusing on the club and the league. And I just say, while the World Cup was going on, for the league to announce an ESPN media deal to be this weekend, you'll be on ESPN2 with a big raucous crowd in Chicago. It's been a big lift for the league, and we're so happy that they did dominate yet again on that world stage, and we do have the best league in the world. For Budweiser, for instance, to be stepping up, and I couldn't be happier that not only did we get a strong, great brand as a national sponsor, but their whole attitude around being a supporter as opposed to being an advertiser speaks volumes, and I think there are lots of others that are coming and are interested in getting on board and supporting women's soccer, women's professional soccer, the NWSL, and none of that would have happened, frankly, if the whole country and world wouldn't have gotten lifted up by the performance that they just had and the whole team. So we're very thankful of that. One thing I will say about the stadium is as we pursue that Downtown South initiative, We think these women deserve the best facilities in the world, that we need to invest in them. We need to give them the opportunity to continue to grow. Paul mentioned how young 3 of them are. And how we have a player in her prime. And we want to continue to give them every opportunity to get better. We cannot be complacent. The rest of the world is doing their best to catch us. And with us having the best club team, we need to provide them with the best facilities. We need to provide our fans with the opportunities to have entertainment around the game so that they can experience the full benefits of being a supporter. And so we're excited to have them back, excited for the league, and all of the energy that they have brought, not just on the field, but for the cause of equal pay and for investment in the women's game. So we thank them for making that happen.
Great job, Steve Malik and Kurt Johnson. So much still going on tomorrow. Town Council, the governor is going to welcome the team on Friday. The ICC's coming. The NWSL Championship game will be right here. I understand tickets are going well for that as well. Exciting times right here, right now.
Absolutely. You know, I think that first I want to relay, and I think they know this, but on behalf of all of our staff, I mean, we watched it, you know, on the edge of our seats, and we're bursting with pride, literally. Not only in how you played, but how you went about your business, and just the job that you did representing yourselves, your families, what you stand for, and us. So we thank you very much for that. Let's see. You know, I think the role of the front office in an organization like ours is to be ready to seize these big moments. And the work that many people have put in for decades in soccer in our community, for 7-8 years, some of us in the front office, and you know, taken to another level with Steve coming on board and the Courage becoming a part of this organization. We have been planning, preparing to be ready for these types of moments. And from our Youth to Pro pipeline, our club mentality, hosting events, women's ICC, the NWSL final, this incredible project, this opportunity that we all have. These are the moments that we've been planning for. We have a light shown on our sport, on our club, by these incredible women. We want to fan those flames, and we want to take advantage of it precisely for the reason that Steve said, to build the best possible club, to provide incredible playing opportunities from the youngest of the recreational players all the way up to the world's best, host events, build a culture around it, and stand for the right things as a club. So exciting times. We take it very seriously what we're all doing here, and I can't wait for the weeks and months ahead.
One more question for our superstars, then I hope you'll have your questions ready, and we'll have Abby Dahlkemper kind of be the lead on this. And Abby, you talk about this whirlwind, winning the World Cup, doing the ticker tape parade, everything that's associated with it, and you come back to a team that's in first place. You see this stadium and the announcement that the team made while you were in France as far as the future, a stadium that you could be playing in 4 or 5 years. What do you think it means to this club and to you?
Yeah, I mean, like kind of everyone said, I think, you know, it's exciting times, and I think, you know, winning the World Cup obviously was so special and so, you know, such a cool experience. But, you know, coming back into this environment, this club, world class, you know, front office, coaches, players, you know, it's excitement, I think, is the word that comes to mind. And, you know, seeing this project, and we kind of ran through, you know, the pictures and the ideas of what they had in the proposal is amazing. And, you know, we're really excited about the opportunity that could be. And, you know, I think that's so cool that, you know, soccer is kind of moving forward and getting this light shown on us and the club and, you know, the area. So just, I think, excitement.
Well said. Okay, time to open up for questions, reminding you that when we're done up here, we also will have everybody available for one-on-one interviews. We've got food and donuts back there as well. So look forward to you guys spending some time here. Questions, raise your hand. We're ready for, yes, go ahead.
Andrea Blanco with ABC 11. This is for whoever wants to answer. So many young girls come here to watch you play every year. You're already role models to them. So what does it mean to come back from the international stage, back home to Cary? What do you hope that these girls see when they see you play on Sunday?
Well, I'll take that. As a mom, I think it's something that's absolutely incredible because, like you said, we're huge role models for these girls. And when it comes to equality, especially, we're here to kind of put our foot down on that. And obviously, being a successful club, being a successful USA team in the World Cup, I mean, this is the start of something big, something historical. And this is something these little girls want to be a part of. And for them to be able to see us live and in action, that's something really cool. And imagine actually meeting your role models as well, because we're very good at meeting the fans after the games. And, you know, we get all the feedback from all the little kids out there. And just to see a smile on their face, that's life-changing. These kids are going to remember that for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember the World Cup championship for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember meeting the NC Courage ladies that played in the World Cup. And not only that, but won an ICC tournament, that won an NWSL championship, that won an NWSL Shield. I mean, the list goes on. And to be able to see that live and in action, that's something big and something really cool and something that's going to inspire them in the future. So that's very important for little kids.
Great question, great answer. Neil?
Same. You, Abby, and Jessica were back for Saturday's game. Crystal was at another NWSL game on Sunday. And in all the media appearances,
Listen, family, y'all, husbands live across the world. So.
and in a lot of your U.S. teammates' appearances, there's been a conspicuous mention of NWSL as being a part of the talking points. And a lot of people have noticed that's different than past big tournaments, past cycles. Why are we seeing, and why is it important that we're seeing an added emphasis and mention on NWSL after this tournament as opposed to maybe the past 4 or 2?
Well, I just think we all know that the league is the future. This is where we live. This is where we train every day, and this environment is really where we improve the most. It's where we are like actively improving ourselves in our soccer. So I think everyone on the national team knows that the NWSL is one of our top priorities to continue to maintain and improve. And if we can have any influence on continuing to just grow the league, show the fans what soccer's all about, add new fans, it's going to just continue to push soccer in the whole country. So we all really, really want the league to do well, and we feel very fortunate to be a part of the Courage where we have the best environment to train, where I feel like I get better every day here. And I think it's just been in the conversation a lot because we all know how important it is.
And then one follow-up, Crystal. There's the World Cup bump, and then there's sustaining all that. You lived through a couple of these cycles, or played through it. What's the best way to sustain the attention that we're seeing kind of in the white line follow-up to the World Cup?
Yeah, I think this last World Cup was really powerful. You know, I think women's soccer has now, or should be, out of the state of, you know, is women's soccer worth it? Are we, you know, is it worth the investment? And I think now the new conversation is, how are we going to propel ourselves in the new direction? And I think, you know, us winning the World Cup is incredible. It's you know, it was viewed by so many people. And I think obviously us coming back into this environment is just as powerful for people to be able to go into their backyards and be able to see amazing soccer. And I think, you know, the more we can just continue pushing the fact that we are worth it, women's soccer is exactly where the money should be flowing into. It's exactly where the stadium should be put. And it's important that we just continue the conversation of, we're past the whole, are we worth it? You know, it's about pushing us more and more. And as Sam said, the league is so important. It's where everyone develops. It's where everyone spends most of their time getting better. And, you know, we have to protect it. We have to continue making it better in any way we can.
This is really for anyone, I guess. What experiences
can go. Crystal and I played in 3 Youth World Cups together, and I think that was obviously the youth national teams were really beneficial experiences, but really just starting out at the club level, which I know we have such a good relationship with our youth club teams, and just having that experience of training every day to get better. And then Abby and I went to college together. I think that was an amazing environment for both of us to improve. So really just kind of like moving up step by step from club to college to here has been, I think, most of our journeys. I don't know.
I think, I mean, there's no correct route to get to the pro level. I think that's what's incredible about when you do make it as a pro. Like, everything that's happened before doesn't really matter. You know, me and Sam gone through the, 3 Youth World Cups together. That was our route. Some people have never made a youth roster ever, still making it in the pros, and they're still dominating the game. I think at the end of the day, it's really about investing in yourself, and wherever, however you end up in the pro world, it's about taking time to really say, am I happy where I am, or do I want to get better? So I think that's what's incredible really about our sport is there's no one path. There's no one correct way. Now you're seeing people go overseas or leaving college earlier. That's going to be probably a new era in the next coming years. But at the end of the day, it's really about your own personal investment and choosing what's best for yourself.
Were there any specific moments where, like, there was a decision, I'm going to play professionally, or, like, kind of switching from, I'm just playing soccer as a kid and I love this, or I want to play in college, to, I want to be at the highest level? Or was it kind of, you had that in your minds the whole time?
I think, speaking for all 4 of us, I think we probably did have them in our minds, but I think, there is a point, I think, where you have to, really dedicate and sacrifice a lot in our lives, our personal lives, to try and make our goals, reality. And I think, every one of us sitting up here would say that hopefully our goal one day would be to play at the highest level, to represent our country at a world stage. So I think definitely a lot of sacrifice, and I think, time and effort, and our social lives maybe like got hindered a little bit, but yeah, exactly. So no, but I think, and it helps having these group of girls up here, and, we've been through so much, and we're so thankful for that. But, it also takes a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work. And, even the girls on the Courage too, we're playing in the best league in the world, and, they have to sacrifice so much too. So it helps having a group of strong women and kind of doing the same thing to support each other. And I think that's really important.
Yes, sir.
You guys touched on it, but I want to know what it was like. The U.S. had a huge target on their back that was maybe even magnified after that Thailand win. It was so dominant. So what was it kind of like at the last moment when you guys finally came to fruition and were able to hold the trophy up? I mean, what was that feeling like?
Anyone?
I mean, it's an indescribable feeling because obviously we took it one game at a time. It's like, okay, we beat Thailand, get that out of the way. We're focused on the next game. And so just going from January, where the rest of the world was kind of worried about the USA women's national team, to us, we were just worried about ourselves, our bubble, the process, and how we were going to peak at the right time into the World Cup, and all the hard work that we had put into to hoist that trophy up. It was almost a sense of relief, but also we were all just overwhelmed with joy, I guess you can say. And for not only for all of us to make the roster, which is a complete dream come true to represent your country in the World Cup, but to also raise that trophy, I mean, that's a one-of-a-kind feeling that it's kind of indescribable, to be honest. I mean, I don't think there's really any other way to really describe how amazing of a feeling it truly was at the end of the day.
Jess, you were overlooked for a long time despite your great play in the NWSL. Do you feel like U.S. soccer is starting to look at the league as a place that they can pluck talent from rather than having an idea going in of who they want to be on the national team?
Yeah, I think times have definitely changed from now in comparison to, let's say, the 99 team. I just say that they've given a lot of us chances to play at the World Cup. I mean, there's just a large list of different types of women with different types of strengths and weaknesses that they bring onto the field. And to get picked at the end of the day, I mean, it was pretty much a relief for me and almost shocking, to be honest, because I just didn't know what was going to happen, obviously, this summer for me. And I think it's just great to see how diverse the team is. I mean, you have just so many different personalities on and off the field, but to be able to create such a great dynasty and put all that together, I think it's just sort of a phenomenal thing to see and to obviously be a part of.
Yeah, Crystal, you're a veteran of international play, Olympics, you mentioned World Cups. This was your first World Cup. What aspect most exceeded your expectations or surprised you the most once you were involved?
Yeah, good question. I mean, yeah, it was quite interesting. You know, I have a bunch of caps with the national team. It was my first World Cup, playing a very strenuous position on the field. And I think for me, I just took it one game at a time. I think each game, to sum up the whole World Cup, provided many challenges. You know, the Thailand winning 13-0, then, you know, all the media about, you know, us celebrating, that kind of thing. And then Chile, obviously, having so much rotation, it was incredible that we were so deep going into the World Cup. Sweden, there's always the Sweden-USA kind of dilemma. And then, you know, knockout round start. And I think for me personally, I always felt like all I can do is put in max effort and, you know, play my role to my best ability. That's always what got me through. What made me feel most confident was knowing that, you know, I went into every game thinking I'm going to impact the game. I know I'm going to do something that is going to potentially help the team score a goal, assist a goal, things like that. And, you know, there was not really so many surprises, I would say. I always knew the World Cup was never going to be easy. So, you know, got in there and found out that it wasn't easy, you know. And, you know, so I think I was mentally prepared already, being in with the national team for 7 years now. I always felt like these girls have always prepared me to be at my best. And, you know, training with elite players, you're always going to become an elite player. So I, you know, no real surprises, I would tell you. I think just me putting my head down, digging deep, and trying to be at my best every game was challenging, but it was incredible, obviously, to be in the end lifting that trophy.
Great questions, all of them. We'll take a couple more. Okay. Yes, sir.
So you guys kind of know the schedule. Once you're, you know, before the championship, you guys are thinking about what's the next few days are going to be like. Winning the cup, celebrating, traveling, New York, ESPYs, all of that. So what was it like, and how did you maintain any sort of composure when you guys were making all those appearances and celebrating all that?
It was obviously like a huge whirlwind. I don't think I don't think I maintained any composure in celebrating at all. But no, me neither. But I mean, it was incredible and like kind of a once in a lifetime thing. So you just really wanted to soak it all in and enjoy it. And it was funny. Like we got our hair and makeup done on the plane from New York to LA before the ESPYs, and like nobody could shower since the parade. So it was kind of like gross. And we really just had to like enjoy it, soak it all in, like I said, and just kind of like experience it together. And even though we were really tired, we kind of knew that it was gonna be worth it for all these memories we were gonna have. And so I mean, I think it was great, and we were all really excited to get back here to North Carolina because this is like where our routine is and where our team is. And just being back already, I feel so much better. I'm like sleeping well, so everything's so much better. So we're really happy to be back, but it was obviously a whirlwind and a ton of fun, but I'm glad that we're home.
Ryan Keeper, CourageCountry.com. Can you all talk about the competitive advantage of coming back to your club and having a little bit more knowledge about some of these players, Sam Kerr, or your U.S. counterparts that are, you know, Portland or other clubs?
Well, to be honest, we kind of already knew all these players going in the first place because we play against them every weekend in the WSL. And so we know a lot of people's weaknesses and their strengths. But bottom line, for the Courage, we focus on ourselves more so than anything and what we're going to do as a team. And so we try not to worry about individuals. But, of course, if we shut them down, then maybe the team will lack something. And so as long as we work on our strengths and fix our weaknesses, then that's what's going to help continue us to be a successful team.
So each of you not being from here, what is for each of you, what's your favorite thing about living in North Carolina? If you can. For each of us.
Well, my favorite thing is the courage.
The courage.
No, I mean, I can go. Yeah, well, I love the biscuits, but no, it's obviously a great area. I think the people are just so friendly and so supportive, and I find that I interact with that the most actually at the Courage games. The fans are, I love to talk to them. Everybody's really nice, personable, willing to kind of go out on a limb for you. It seems like there's real, Southern hospitality, and I've really enjoyed that.
Well, besides the courage, as some of you guys probably know, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, where there was just one season and one season only. And that is burning hot kind of season. And so I think all 4 seasons here I like to take advantage of, especially the fall, seeing the leaves change colors. That's life-changing for me is the weather, that's for sure.
All right, I'm last, so I'll just say something. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think me obviously going to school down the road, 20 minutes, 25 minutes away, I always felt like when I came to this team, I felt like I was coming home in a big way because, college is obviously an important part of our lives. And I spent 4 amazing years here going to college. So, yeah, there's that kind of home feeling, kind of similar to what Sam was saying, like that Southern hospitality of feeling like you're friends with everybody. Speaking with fans after games, you feel like, they're so down to earth and their support is so incredible. And, it's a really great environment and great place to be.
Okay, we'll take one more question, and then we'll have, sorry, we got someone else to talk. Go ahead, Abby. Sorry, Abby. Yeah. What do you like about North Carolina, Abby?
No, I was gonna say the Southern hospitality as well, but traveling through France, we stayed in Paris twice. We stayed in cities, and I think that just having a little bit of space, and the landscape of this area and where we live in our apartments is so nice too. So, just kind of taking a breath, having some space, the pool, my friends, which is these people.
Well, Crystal, you talked about propelling the league forward and the new investors that are coming in. What each of you guys would you like to see those changes, and how would you prioritize where they put attention for women's soccer?
I'd love some nice commercials or something. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm trying to be promoting the league. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, when we talk about money pouring into the league, obviously, salaries, players getting paid even more, things like that. And I think, there's just so many ways that money can actually be beneficial. It's not only money in pockets. It's, facilities. It's gear. It's just really anything that makes you feel like a true professional. And I think that's what's most important is a lot of people talk about, we need more money. And it's not necessarily just money in pockets. It's just money flowing where people feel like this is my job. And in order for me to be at my best, I need to come into a facility that makes my standards even rise higher as a professional athlete. And it's just, the list can go on. Every little bit matters. And I think that's what is most important is that any little bit that someone's willing to do is incredible. It goes a long way.
Yeah, just to echo that, I think the TV deal is really important. I think continuing to raise the minimum salaries is really important. Continuing to make this a really professional atmosphere, and I think we do a great job here at the Courage. And the league in general can continue to push those things forward in the league front office. And we're very grateful. I mean, this is our 7th season. It's awesome, but we want this to get better. We want it to grow. And I think there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes with both the NWSL and the National Team Players Associations to push those things along. And hopefully this, in the coming months, a lot more things are improved and continue to get pushed.
I mean, I agree with what Sam said, but I think, kind of closing that gap from the teams that maybe need a little bit more support to, the top teams and kind of mirroring what, they're doing. And I think the biggest thing for me is just making sure that like all the girls that play professional soccer feel like, you know, this is their sole job and that their salaries are something that, you know, they can be sustained and live off of. And so I think, you know, raising the money that comes in there and, you know, and I think the other thing too is just making the league feel, you know, secure and like it's thriving, that it's, you know, moving in a positive direction. I think that's really important. And I think also too is, you know, creating these fans that not only come every 4 years and, you know, there's a huge hype every couple of months right after the World Cup, but continuing, you know, to sell out games and hopefully create, you know, lifelong soccer fans.
I think marketing would be a big thing for the NWSL. As you guys probably know, I've played in a lot of teams in this league, and I've heard from a lot of these cities, people don't even know that they even have a professional women's soccer team. I just made a post yesterday about like my first day being back with these girls with the Courage, and someone literally messaged me saying they live 30 minutes away from here, didn't even know that they had a women's team here. So I think if we can market a little bit better, because I've heard that one too many times throughout my career, if we just market a little bit better, I think that would definitely help with salaries and things like that for the players. And so that's definitely one big thing that we can definitely change in this league.
Great questions, and some final comments. First of all, Sam Mewis, your take on the whirlwind and everything about it, and then your comfort back here was heartwarming. I love that answer, phenomenal. Paul Riley, I'd love for you to answer the question from this nice young man talking about the NWSL's impact on the national team, reminding everybody that probably the Courage had 8 players in the top 30 for the U.S. pool, including player number 24. We also had 3 other players that played for New Zealand, Brazil, and Canada as well, to give you an idea of the impact the league has made on not just our national team, but other national teams. And Paul, I'd like you to comment on that, what the NWSL means for, indeed, the strength of our national team and other national teams.
Well, I think a lot of the players have talked about the NWSL and what it does for the players and the competitive environment it gives the players. And I think somebody that asked the question was, how does it help the league and how does the league help the players? To me, the season needs to be a little bit longer. I think we need to have a longer season so they can stay in a competitive environment for 10 months as opposed to 8 months. So I think it's something that we would try to move towards. Because I think this is where, and I think Jill Ellis understands that this is where they're training 90% of the time. So if they're training 90% of the time, then put everything into that environment, make that environment better, more full-time people, more sports science people, more performance people, so we can, you know, again, keep educating and keep being better than the rest of the world, because they are getting better. There's no question the rest of the world's catching up. I don't like using catching up. They're getting better, so it's in order for us to improve. The best way to improve, to me, more competition, more teams in the league. I think we need to expand maybe a little bit, but we need a longer season. We need to be able to give them an extra couple of months of training so they can stay in a really competitive environment. The NWSL, you talk about the best league in the world. For me, it's the most competitive league in the world. I want it to be the best league in the world, and that takes everybody, all the clubs, to be able to push on. Not just 2 or 3 clubs. We can't afford to be carrying 2 or 3 clubs. It needs everybody on board, and everyone in the league needs to help everybody. And you know, I want to see the parity of the league continue, because it's no good for anybody. I tell them all the time that, you know, every game's really important in this league, and there's hard games. When you play Sky Blue, it's a hard game, and I want that to continue. I don't want that not to continue. I think it's important for these guys. It's improvement for their competitiveness to be able to improve. And I don't know if I answered the question, but that's what I think.
Kurt, real quick, as you reflect on the answers from our superstars and Paul and even Steve and the well-informed questions of our media, what's your takeaway here on another great day?
Well, I'm thankful for the position we're in, and I'm also feel the urgency for it to be better, you know, in all the different ways that were articulated here. We can't rest. We're not there, you know. They won an incredible trophy, but we have to create and continue to be leaders. You know, we've been leaders in Title IX in this community, UNC, NC State, Duke, et cetera, with their women's programs. We've been leaders when we initially built this almost 2 decades ago, this facility. Been leaders in youth soccer, youth tournaments, college recruiting, opportunities, showcasing talent. The list goes on and on. But the entire country has moved forward They're building, incredible state-of-the-art, world-class facilities for their male and female players. And for us to continue to have a top women's team, to create an environment where they want to be here and can thrive here, the best of the best, we've got to continue to move this forward. Otherwise, if you're not moving it forward, you're falling behind. And I think we can continue to be leaders for multiple decades. It has been so important for this community. The championships that UNC has won, the programs that NC State and Duke have had, the women that have come through those programs. We've got more to do to stay at that level and to provide a great environment for these women and men.
And Steve, final comments from you as you reflect on the fact you said you were going to bring a winner here. They won everything last year, going to try to do it again this year. And, of course, these fine members that won the 4th World Cup for our country.
That little love pat from Paul Riley told you everything you needed to know right there. No, I'll just say that my feelings, having heard your questions and their answers, are I'm more inspired to serve them. They're pioneers here in the work that they do. Look at them; they're all sitting up here sweating. They just had a practice, and then they're smiling and answering your questions. They're great for the game. It's great to win a World Cup. A lot of talk here about NWSL. I'm chairman of the executive committee, and I'm doing that extra work because I want to work hard to accomplish all of those things that they said in service to them and their goals. We want to be the best. You're right, I said that. And I think, what you hear from all of us up here is we're willing to work for that. And we want to earn it. It tastes so much better when you've earned it. And so we're out there doing that on behalf of our community and for them, our country. So couldn't be more proud.
All right, we said we were going to end it at 12:30. All of these players are going to be available for interviews, and I know they want to do some live shots as well. We will have food available. Do want to remind everybody that North Carolina FC, the men's team, plays tonight at 7, and this Great Courage team will be on Sunday, 6 o'clock on ESPN2 to take on Chicago. So proud of each and every one of you on winning the 4th World Cup and everything you do for the North Carolina Courage media. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great day. Go Courage. Great to be with you all.